Hi, this is Patrick Reed, and I'd like to show you how to set up a Google form. So first off you do is go over here into your drive, do drive.google.com, and you click on New, go down to More, and Google Forms to start a Google form. Now Google Form is a way to collect data. This data, it can either be numeric data or even qualitative data. Now this is the old Google form version. The handout that I provided was on the new form, so I'm going to go back to that as well. So if you see this bar pop up right here, you can go ahead and click on Try the New Form. You don't see that bar yet. It may just be that it has not rolled out to you yet. So it's basically the same thing, just a little different. So I'm going with the new Google Forms. Click on that bar. It will load the new Google Forms. Now, the first thing you should do is go ahead and title your form. So we're going to call this Book Review. So you just type in your title, you type in a description, please complete for the book that you read. Now, you always want to, I always start off in my Google form with a name question. I always like to ask them to separate out from their first name. Now over here, when you create a form, you can change the question type. Question type can be all of these right here. Since it's a name, it's going to be a short answer. You can give it more help down here if you want to. Also down here where it says required, since this is a name question, I like to require this. Now, there's a duplicate option right here. And so if it's like first name and last name, you can just do duplicate. On last name. Now, a lot of times I would do email. What I'm going to do is, since this is my Google Apps for Education account, I'm going to go up here to Settings, and under Settings, I'm going to automatically click Respondent's Elegant ISD username. And also in the saying, since we're in here, we can say anyone that can respond, and so anyone Elegant ISD or anyone. So we're going to keep it there, so that way this check. Now, if I go off to anyone, that check mark goes away. We're going to keep it at anyone Elegant ISD. We can also change this confirmation page. So it says your response has been recorded. What I can also do is I can say, thank you for submitting your response. Now please read your next book quietly. And so as a teacher, I can instruct my students on what to do next. There's always a, well, what do we do now? This is how you do that. So you can submit a response if you want to. You can also show a progress bar and all kinds of other options down here. So I'm going to click Save. So now I've got their first name, last name, and again, we're collecting their username. So we're going to get their email. So let's go ahead and do a section. Now sections actually break your responses into, or your form into multiple pages. So this is going to be book information. So we'll just collect information about the book. So we're going to add a question. Again, just click the plus. So we can say book title. And it can be title, it's a short answer. I'm going to require this one. Now we're going to, again, duplicate that. We're going to put pages read. Or start, let's go with start date. Because what's cool is that you can also use things like a question like date. So now the student can mark down what day they started the book. And let's go ahead and get a new section. I'm going to do this book review. So just go ahead and start with a simple question as of describe the plot. Now again, you might want to go down here and make this a paragraph. You can even give it some hint text, like remember the plot is what the story is about. You can even add links to that as well if you want to link it to some notes that you all covered or something like that. We're going to make this a required question. Go ahead and add another question. So I'm going to add a question right here. And we're going to say, rate your book. This time, since it's rating, we're going to go ahead and give it a linear scale. So here's a linear scale. To rate 1 to 5 section, you can label it. You don't have to, but I always like to say, you can call this worst book ever for 1 and best book ever. Of course, that's an exclamation point because we're excited. Let's do that here as well. Require that. And again, on the linear scale, we can go layer it in. Let's go do that just for sake. And also notice over here on the forms, we can add questions, we can add titles. There's also an image section. I like to add images. So let's say that if this is that question and they're supposed to describe a picture, you actually add that image here, as well as YouTube videos. Also look up here on the top. Let's say we're done with our form. Next to the questions, we also have our responses. In the responses section, this is where the summary responses is going to be now, as well as this is where you're going to link your title sheet. Now again, we're going to call this book review. And because I didn't originally title it, I had to title it here. Say create. It will create that spreadsheet. It's going to go ahead and load that spreadsheet. And again, we're going to title this book review. And again, the title, all I did was just click up here and start typing. You can accept responses. This is also where you can unlink it. You can also download the responses into a CSV and then open up as Excel. You can also do things like changing the response destinations, as well as delete responses that go into your summary responses right here. So again, here's your questions and then responses. Now, let's say we don't like the color. We can always change that color, as well as add another image down here. And this is where you can customize it based on, let's say, your school logo, or maybe about whatever you're doing. If this is a physics lesson, maybe this is going to be a picture of an airplane or something like that. The eyeball is where you're going to preview your form. So if I do that, it will come up with a new window with the preview. And so you can kind of run through your form to make sure everything works right. The last piece is the settings, like I've already gone over. Again, we're going to automatically collect responders. And you can also go and say submit only 1 response. So we lose that submit other responses. And I'm going to go ahead and click see summary responses, because that way the students can check the results of other students. And so maybe that way they can see if they want to read the book that the other students read. And also, to change up these sections, you can also change where they go to. So if we don't want them to go to the next section, we want them to give us the book review first and then the book information. You can do that here. I just clicked on the continue next section, the drop down arrow, and go from there. So again, this is Google Forms. The new Google Forms, it's very streamlined. They've pulled a couple of things, but it is a change, and I think it's a good change for streamlining. And again, the question always is, finally, well, how do I get my Google form to my people? You click send. They've now given you the option to send via email, so you can actually type in your email addresses here with the subject of the message. The one I prefer is the link. You can even short that link by clicking the checkbox, and you can copy and paste that into a website or into another email. Or you can always embed this with this as well, where you can change the width and the height and just embed that into your HTML. They've also now added social links as well. So for Google+, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you want to go and just tweet that out, you can do that to your followers. So again, this is the Google Forms. It's the new Google Forms. And if for some reason you ever do not want to be in the new Google Forms, if you click the running man in the bottom left corner, it'll pull you back to the old Google Forms. So if you have any questions, you can always contact me. Just shoot me an email or find me on Twitter at PatrickReed28. Thank you. Have a good day.